One of my dream jobs is to become a Linux system administrator. I've always been fascinated by the things you can do on Linux, and I just really enjoy working with Linux in general. Ever since I installed Ubuntu for the first time 4 years ago, I felt like there was a great journey ahead, that is, being able to self-host everything and I do and use. I've made videos in the past about Homelabbing, and unfortunately they got nowhere, so with a limited budget and high dreams, I managed to make the server rack I want. Hello, I'm George Kostic. I'm a 3D artist, a composer, and a cybersecurity student. Crossed, I actually graduated, and I'll be showing you how to Homelab. It started with wanting a server, so I did small amounts of research on where to buy Blade servers, and there's this neat website called ServerMonkey. I got excited and visited it, and Jinkies Batman, look at those prices. So instead I went to the next best thing, eBay. I looked at hundreds of servers to find the right one, and there it was, my future server, a Dell PowerEdge R430, listed for $300, from a decent vendor, with 64GB of DDR4. In this tough market of RAM shortage, I couldn't believe it, so I took the risk and used the funny numbers on my dad's credit card, mine, and 2 weeks later it arrived, and there she was, bright as the moonlight with shining silver metal that made my funny bone go up, a certified baddie. So then I quickly set it up and turn it on, that's what she didn't say, and install Proxmox on it. If you don't know what Proxmox is, it's a virtual environment that's a type 1 hypervisor, which means it sits on bare metal unlike VirtualBox from our beloved company Oracle. Proxmox is open source and enterprise companies also use it. It allows you to run copious amounts of VMs and containers to your heart's content and your wallet's depression. I didn't have a VGA monitor, forgot those old servers use VGA exclusively, so I had to borrow one of my buddy's VGA monitor. I didn't bother to read the documentation, I probably should have. Went to the BIOS, updated it, and then run through the generic Proxmox OS installation and made my first VM, and the rest was history. Until I got hungry for another server, and another server, and another server. Then my wallet started crying. So it wasn't bad. I do encourage you not to do this and instead buy 1 or 2 ThinkCentry on eBay, and that's really all you need to have good amounts of services running. I did this because I dreamed too big, but also I've always wanted a server room. Now let's address the hating choir in the room, if you don't mind.
Why did you buy a 2-blade server? Don't you know that consumes too much electricity?
Man, shut your goofy. I'm well aware that blade servers in general consume large amounts of power, and they're not really meant to be for home labs, but rather for enterprises to use. But I seriously really wanted to have an IT job at home. Plus they're up 8 to 10 hours a day to conserve energy. However, my ThinkCentries are up 24/7. Alright, on to the boring part. So I got my internet entering the stupid ISP router. I've been trying to change my router, but they're like $300 to $400 for like fucking 4 gigs of RAM. It's fucking absurd, but whatever. I might just buy a ThinkCentry like for cheap, $100 or so, and then I installed 2 NIC cards on it, and that should be good enough. And then the ISP router into the 8-port switch, which is Netgear, and then you got my hardware here, Helios, Titan, Hermes, and Apollo. Those are named after God of War gods, so Greek gods, I believe. And then Helios is my main production, so it runs a lot of services that I don't need all day, I just need some time. And then Titan is my backup server for pretty much everything I have, so my phone, my personal PC, and whatnot. And then Hermes and Apollo is the 24/7 service, Docker services that I generally need, like search engines and whatnot. And then also Proxmox runs OCI and LXC containers, which is on the main server. So Bezel, MySpeed, and Excalibur. Love Excalibur, one of my favorite applications. And then across all these hardwares, it runs these clusters, or Kubernetes cluster. Oh yeah, back to my Proxmox right here, the main one. I have Grafana and Prometheus on it, so I can monitor all my hardware and whatnot. So actually I haven't got to that part. It's only monitoring my main server for now, so I'll have to configure my other ones to monitor everything in total. And then yeah, I got my entertainment section, which is Nextcloud, homepage, search engine, Navidrome, password manager. Pretty basic, just runs Debian and Ubuntu. And then I got defense, which is like kind of like security. I got Waza, Security Onion, Chasm, Arcspeed, Airlock, Elasticsearch. Some of these have not been set up yet, but they're a work in progress. But Waza is set up just mainly to monitor all my servers, just in case. Not that I'm planning to, open ports or anything, but you never know. So then I got my Ansible cluster. I've been learning a lot of Ansible lately, so I've been having a lot of fun with it. So you need a bunch of servers for those little VMs, and then my play environment, which is Arch Linux Endeavor and Kali Linux, just for experimental stuff, and my DNS, which is just generic DNS, whatever the DNS ISP router hooks up to. So yeah, that's my infrastructure. It's very basic. There's nothing crazy about it. I know it's missing some things. Probably gonna include that later. Also, my backup has a couple backups. I've probably already mentioned that, but I forgot to include that. Probably needs a section here for backup because they're in a different separate machine. But anyways, enough of the boring part. Back to the fun stuff, I think. So yeah, there is no rack, just a dusty, broken old office desktop, but it's okay. It's a humble work in progress. My home lab used to be a bunch of machines on VirtualBox, which is a terrible idea since that's pretty task-key on your main PC. I still use VirtualBox for testing and learning so that I don't have to break my home lab. This project took around 6 months of getting all the hardware together and setting everything up. I enjoyed every agonizing second of it. And finally, my Linux skills came in very handy. Just a pro tip if you're starting out is document everything you do and what you learn so you don't have to waste time finding the commands or the menus you need like I did in the very beginning. As always, I hope you learned something, and until next time, I'm George Kostic. Yo, shout out to all my Proxmox users. You guys are amazing, keeping things real, ensuring transparency for the most time. Some of you vibe code, which I don't really like, but it's alright. I love Homelabbing, I do a lot of yapping. Cloud users love a lot of napping. While I'm working my craft, I look at Cloud user and laugh. I'm a terrible basketball player, no NBA draft. Self-hosting is great. Cloud companies I hate. Embrace the creativity, don't vibe code. Make sure the clusters are on a node. My server too good, it overloads. RAM prices are too high, I fucking hate AI. Vibe coders lie, my wallet cries goodbye.